Hello everyone, welcome to this video that might make you dream a little. Vegetables all year round without doing anything. That's the promise of perennial vegetables, plants that you can put in your garden or forest, and once they're in place there won't be much else to do except harvest and eat them. So dream or reality? That's what we're going to see in the video. We'll refine it more, but I'd say it always depends on the plants and vegetables they grow themselves without any intervention. No, you won't get that since it doesn't exist, but some plants still offer harvest year-round. We'll have leafy vegetables in spring, fruit vegetables in summer and fall, and root vegetables, rhizomes and tubers in winter through mid-spring. So once it's set up for the whole year, all you'll have to do is harvest. However, before it's properly set up, there will be something to think about and anticipate. I may not make a series here, but I will create other videos. After this one, where I'll talk to you more specifically about each plant. By the way, I invite you in the comments below this video to let me know which vegetables you'd like me to go a little further into. In this one, I'm going to introduce you to the range of perennial vegetables that I have here in my garden. In this video, I'll share more details. The different ways I approach the idea of perennial vegetables. There are several ways to do it. For more info, details and complete plant lists, check the description below the video. I've put a link for you to buy the book I just released in which I explain the ways to propagate and grow them. At the end of the book, appendices contain extensive lists of perennial plants. Perennial vegetables, easy harvests year-round. Is it possible? Find out in this video. So first, a little thing I want to start by telling you is that there are plenty of perennial vegetables here. I made a quick list of what I have here. I have around 30 here, which I'll show in the video. There are a lot that we know without even realizing they're perennial vegetables. Here I'm standing in front of a small bed of daylilies. It's a flower that's used as an ornamental, but everything on it is edible. The flowers, the leaves, the roots, you could eat it all. Well, the roots. It bothers me a bit, but many plants are like that. Artichoke, rhubarb, nettle. There are perennial vegetables, some wild, some cultivated, and plants like mint and lemon balm that are between herbs and vegetables. You can definitely eat them in salads in the spring when they're young shoots that aren't too strong in flavor. They can be eaten in salads. We could treat wild plants like dandelion and yarrow as vegetables, so there would be plenty. We have them all around us, it's just that we don't see them as perennial vegetables. Before I start my more detailed list, I'll explain to you how I grow them. The two perspectives we can have on cultivation. The first perspective is perennial vegetables that we let grow on their own and harvest as needed. That's true for Miroccolis, Menton, cabbage and many perennial vegetables. I have different spots in the forest garden, in my hedges, at the base of my shrubs. I let them grow and when I feel like it, I harvest a little bit. Perennial onion, Menton cabbage. That's not how they're the most productive, but that's how they're the most self-sufficient. There's nothing else to do but harvest when you need it. On the other hand, take a perennial onion, that's it. If you let it grow wild in the garden without maintenance, it will form clumps of small bulbs and the leaves will be interesting to eat. But we won't get the big onion bulb, we won't get the big onion bulb like we're used to finding in stores. On the other hand, take these bulbs, pull them out from where they're growing naturally wild. On their own, at least in your garden, pull them out, separate each little bulb and cultivate it. In a slightly nourished area. Weed them like onions without competition and you'll get bigger bulbs. This also applies to chou de menton. If you let it grow naturally in your garden, it will get attacked. It might not necessarily look very nice though. Isolate it, take cuttings from it and grow it on its own in very well nourished areas. Suddenly you'll see a lot of leaves. So here are various ways to grow it. If one day someone tells you, oh yes, perennial vegetables are good, but they're not the most productive things out there. No, they're not very productive if left natural, but they'll still produce a bit without any help. And if you want to fill the gap and have a big harvest, do as I just said, go all in on them. And then you'll have something that could actually become very productive. So now I'm going to give you a little list of what I grow, or at least what I have that grows here. I'll try to do it like it's done in some books by putting them into categories like leaves, roots, fruits, flowers and so on. It's not always easy to make categories. Humans always want to put things into boxes. It's easy. Some plants are grown for specific parts, while others, like daylilies, have multiple usable parts. So, well, I'm still going to put this into categories for you. I'll try, but there you go. Some plants could fit into several categories. Then cultivated plants, wild plants, herbs, plants, vegetables. As I just said before, it's not always easy to put this into just one category. That being said, okay, what should I start with? Alright, flowers. We're going to have the artichoke, which is a perennial vegetable. Once it's in place, it grows on its own, and we harvest the flowers. We could also use the leaves for medicinal purposes, so you see a vegetable plant can also be a medicinal plant. Very, very close to that, we're going to have the cardoon. For me, the artichoke doesn't grow very well here, but the cardoon grows back very, very well. These aren't flowers as productive or as significant as the artichokes, but it can still be interesting if you go further than that. Even smaller flowers will have certain thistles, like milk thistle, whose flowers you can eat when they're even smaller. And in this case, if you don't have any at home, find some seeds, plant them, and if they like your place, they'll reseed themselves on their own. By the way, I'm saying this, but I don't even know if milk thistle is a perennial. Again, it's something where it's not easy to tell the difference. What do I have coming to mind right now? Borage, we could consider it a perennial because once it's established, it comes back every year, but no, it's actually an annual that reseeds itself very, very easily. Alright, I'm coming back to my flower vegetables to talk to you about a vegetable that actually isn't one. The rose bush, there are quite a few rose bushes. The damask rose is very good, but even other rose bushes. Old aromatic ones that can be used for. To consume the flowers, you can make jams, jellies, add them to certain dishes, especially desserts. So it's not necessarily a vegetable that you'll eat in savory dishes, but it's still a perennial plant whose flowers you can eat. You could again mix perennial vegetables with ornamental plants here. You have some mallows, but especially hollyhocks, and all the plants in the mallow family are edible, so hollyhocks too. You can easily plant that at home and eat the leaves and flowers from time to time. That works too. Alright, to finish with the flowers, there will be many others daylily flowers. So here the leaves are just starting to grow, but the flowers are edible. Right now we could eat the leaves and that. It's a plant you can put in your garden once it's planted. It's very hardy and withstands dry, cold or hot conditions extremely well. Once in place, it grows. And if you want to put it somewhere else, you just have to pull out the little shoots that stick out a bit onto the path. For me, that's the one I pull out, and once it's pulled out, you can go plant it somewhere else. Very easy to plant in your gardens and easy to grow. In this case, once the plant is in place, you just harvest it and add it to a dish. You can eat these leaves like green beans, and it's very easy to grow. There's nothing to do, so we're leaving to see others elsewhere in the garden. Here we have rhubarb, a perennial vegetable and excellent ground cover whose leaves disappear in winter but are now starting to regrow. But the whole area around it, for at least a meter in diameter, is covered by the leaves. For the rest of the season there's no weed growth around it at all, so it's a very good ground cover. If you plant 2 or 3 rhubarbs at the base of a tree, the area will be protected from weeds, so it's great. Good, I told you this was a leafy vegetable, but as you can see with rhubarb it's not at all. The part we eat is the stalk. The leaf itself is too high in oxalic acid, I think. Anyway, there are some things in it that aren't good for the kidneys. On the other hand, the stalk of the leaf is interesting. And another plant that's super easy to grow, it just has a little secret you need to know. I've grown it for years. After settling in, it only produced tiny leaves until I discovered it needs slightly rich soil to grow. I planted some next to a compost area on an old compost spot that had been moved. And in just a few weeks, a month or 2 at most, it already had gigantic leaves. So there you go, growing on very, very rich soil, very rich in organic matter. It grows very, very easily. Let them flower. So I've often heard that you shouldn't let them flower because it weakens or exhausts them. They can't grow behind me anymore since I let them flower each year. This one must have been too. It's been here nearly 10 years, so that's not true. Letting them flower doesn't exhaust them. Alternatively, if you let them flower, you can easily collect and replant the seeds, making propagation very simple. Another one, but I can't show it to you because it hasn't come out yet, comfrey. So that one, some people will say it's toxic. Eat it occasionally and in small amounts. Don't make a big salad bowl daily. There you go. I've been consuming it for over 20 years and so far I'm fine. Some people might say, you'll realize it later. Well, if after 20 years of using it you still don't feel anything, I tell myself it's not that bad either. What's so comfrey? Same, very easy to grow and perennial, hardy. There are no problems. The leaves, great to eat sweetened, salted in fritters or soups. Many ways to enjoy it. It's also very easy to grow. I've talked to you about it in plenty of other videos. I even have a video just about comfrey, a link over here or over there. I don't know if I'll put the link for you. Comfrey is also an excellent ground cover. It may not spread as much as rhubarb, but it's similar. The large Russian bocking, 14 comfreys. This type of comfrey serves as ground cover and is ideal for planting at the base of trees, including fruit trees. To avoid irritation, it's great And comfrey, once again, is a vegetable because you can eat the leaves, but it's also a medicinal plant. You can use the roots since it's a healing plant. Comfrey comes from kisud, meaning that well. Pretty cool. To remember it, there you go. Another easy to grow, multi-purpose plant. So it's recommended for every garden. Here's another one I found along the way. Sorrel, perennial sorrel, same thing. Farmers used to call it the 100-year sorrel because once planted it stays for 100 years. And there you go. Well, what more can I say? It's good, eat some. So everything I've shown you so far was outdoors. I also have some in the greenhouse. Outdoors it'll come a bit later, and in the greenhouse it'll come a bit earlier. Some plants that are more sensitive to cold can be grown more extensively in the greenhouse. Or whatever, there you go, in the greenhouse. It's good for arugula. Well, right now it's completely gone to flower, so it's not really the best time to eat it. Actually, yes. A lot of people will tell you that when it's in flower it's not as good, and when it's stressed, when it's hotter and drier, it's going to be a bit stronger. If it works for you when it's stronger, that's good. It's spring, the frogs are starting to wake up, but you see, I let it go to flower because that way I can reproduce it. I make some more seeds. Even if it's flowering, you can still eat a few leaves occasionally. Its flavor is stronger than that of annual cultivated or garden arugula. I don't even know what it's called actually, but there you go. Once you get used to its taste. And once again, if you like a bit of spiciness, it's really, really good. If you want it to have a milder taste, protect it from too much sun, from being too dry, too hot. Just give it a bit of shade and it will be much milder in flavor. Maybe water it a bit more. That dilutes it, but it will be meatier and less spicy. But it can be good that way too. I love it. Even the flowers are good to eat. So here we have Obanton cabbage. Same thing, perennial, very easy to grow, very easy to propagate. So here it's just a tiny piece. It used to be huge. Last year I trimmed it to save space and took some cuttings. It's very easy to propagate. But you should know that it can get huge. A single cabbage can cover several square meters. Each stem that touches the ground can root and grow larger. I'm not going to say it can become invasive. The idea isn't to scare you. Actually, it's great if it becomes invasive. This kind of plant, it tastes a lot like kale, which is sometimes considered a perennial vegetable. At home it's usually annual or biennial for me, which may be due to climate and how you use it. Raw or cooked, it's very versatile. Next to it is a perennial onion. I mentioned leafy vegetables, perennial onion leaves are edible. As I said before, if you let it grow naturally, it will form bushes like this with many of them. There's a smaller one here too. Here I could pull out the whole thing and separate each one to make a bigger onion or to plant them somewhere else. And so there you go, you can eat the leaves, kind of like you would eat green onions, by the way. Another perennial vegetable I don't have here now. Chinese chives have large leaves, similar to chives but bigger, so they're considered vegetables. So here's another very hardy plant, very easy to grow. It hasn't come out yet, but I also have lovage growing around here, so lovage. It's very close to celery, sometimes called perennial celery, but there are several plants that go by that name. But lovage or mountain herb, very aromatic and strong. Magic herb refers to those little cubes used in soup, known as magic herb in Africa. Because you see, you take a lovage leaf, put it in a soup and it flavors the soup. It's amazing. Easy to propagate by division, 2 clumps of lovage, or by sowing, though sowing is trickier. There you go. So I have my rooster. He hasn't molted yet. He still has his teenage voice. I hope he won't keep it. Where was I? I was talking about lovage. It's easy to propagate. All right. In the meantime, I'll check if I've told you everything. Where am I now? The Madeira vine, right? Where is it? It's over there. All right, let's continue with the rooster in the background. Otherwise, it won't come out. Lovage is easy to propagate by division, and though growing from seed is trickier, it's still possible. What else did I want to show you? Never mind, he distracted me and I forgot. Oh wait, I remember. So, lovage will be coming up soon. I might make a video about it. And what I wanted to say is already in the comments. If you have other perennial vegetables, mention them in the comments. It could be interesting. But if you want me to make more specific videos about each perennial vegetable, let me know in the comments and I will do it for you. vegetables, everything about onions, everything about lovage, everything about mint and cabbage. There you go, we'll see. Now I'm going to show you another one that's starting to grow again. I didn't expect it to grow back like this. Actually, it's tougher than I was told. So this plant here, it's the Madeira vine, or it's also called Bucingoltia, with heart-shaped leaves. Its Latin name is Unredera cordifolia. So thanks to Damien for the gift. He's the one who gave this to me. Last year I was told that it was quite sensitive to the cold. Well, in the greenhouse it survived, but I'm a bit worried about how invasive it might be. Last year it took up quite a lot of space in the greenhouse. Well, we'll see, we'll talk about it again during the year. So it's a leafy vegetable, we eat the leaves. The leaves are a bit thick, a bit fleshy, and quite mild in taste, so I imagine it's pretty easy to use in lots of salads or things like that. And while I'm here, we have this one coming back, the agastache, the anise hyssop. So I would rather classify it as an herb, but some people eat it, its leaves, in salads. You need to enjoy strong anise-like flavors, but it's also interesting. Its hardiness is similar. Outdoors, it doesn't regrow for me, but in the greenhouse, it thrives. So I imagine that if you have a climate that goes down to -5 in the winter, it can easily survive. Here's another one I have, though I wouldn't group it with the vegetables. A bit like rhubarb, you don't eat the leaves, you mostly eat the stalks. It's more of a perennial sweet treat. It's wild Angelica, Angelica sylvestris. Like rhubarb, you eat the leaf stalks, and for Angelica, they're candied. You can often find candied Angelica sticks or branches at markets. Those are the leaf stalks. Our perennial vegetable, quite classic and yet very, very rarely grown, is asparagus. So you can even eat it raw like this, and I love it. It's excellent, but it's not grown very much because I don't know, maybe people aren't too familiar with the methods. You can really see it in rows of asparagus with mounds that require a special harvesting tool. It's complicated, but go ahead and plant some. There's a trick you should know. To plant them, you need to make a small trench and bury them a little. Once planting is done, I won't go into details. If you're interested, let me know in the comments. Once it's set up, you can use small fruits. I have them along there, beside some small fruits at the base of a stone wall. It's been planted for over 10 years and you can grow many crops around it. Here I have comfrey growing, a tree, a pistachio tree that I planted right next to it. That doesn't stop the asparagus from growing, it doesn't stop the asparagus from sprouting every year. Once it's set up, just do what I did. Walk by, pull out a few pieces and you're done. It's great. So there are plenty of people who might say that this isn't the right method. It's more productive if you really focus only on the asparagus, on the rows, and do it the traditional way. For me, forest garden, I aim more for diversity than for large production of each vegetable. So if large-scale production isn't our goal, in the end, it's very simple to do. Once it's set up, it grows on its own. So now I was going to talk to you about perennial vegetables that we would rather put in the category of tubers, roots, rhizomes, all that. And I was looking for a place to settle down, so I put myself here. I thought there's some house leek here. Some house leeks, even sedum, which are very, very similar, can be put in salads. It's good. Some will have a slightly more peppery taste. We could consider that a perennial vegetable behind me, if you can see them. Yes, there are bamboos, perennial bamboos. We eat bamboo shoots, so that's another perennial vegetable. I hadn't planned to talk to you about that, but that's too much to add. For tubers, we'll know the classics. The potato, yes, the potato is a perennial vegetable. If left unharvested, the underground tuber will regrow the next year and produce new tubers that can overwinter in place. Anyway, there you go, it could stay in place for years. Jerusalem artichoke is classic, familiar to anyone who lived through World War II. We're tired of Jerusalem artichokes because they ate too many back then, and that's just how it is. It's still a perennial vegetable and very easy to grow. If you forget to harvest them, they'll just get bigger, more impressive. The following year, you'll have even more to harvest. And it's really one of those things that if you want to eat something, you just go to the garden during the winter. You pull them out, you have them available all the time. It's very, very easy to have and to store. Another less known one is yacon, which I mentioned in other videos. I'll try to find some pictures to show you, so you can see the size of the tubers. So yacon or earth pear, there must be other names. I'll show them if I find them, that's all. A single plant can yield 5, so I usually say up to 10 kilos. That never happened to me, but I've had plants yield 7 or 8 kilos of tubers. You harvest the tubers, you eat them in autumn and winter, and the rootstock of the plant, every inch you can separate it to make a new plant. One big plant usually lets me grow 15-20 more the next year. So if we go back, a single plant yields 5 to 8 kilos of tubers per year and lets you multiply that by 20 the next year. It's exponential. You can produce a huge amount, really a lot. And once again, it's a plant that's very easy to grow. If you feed it a little, if you have soil that's a bit rich, well, you'll get really big yields. Among the somewhat well-known tuberous plants, you have nasturtium or tuberous wisteria, so I don't have any of those here. By the way, if anyone around me has some and wants to trade a few tubers, I'd be interested. Wisteria and nasturtium are pretty plants that produce flowers. With nasturtium, the foliage is edible, the leaf is edible too, and the tubers are also interesting to eat. What else about wisteria? Well, it's an ornamental plant. The flower could be edible too, but not the leaves. Well, not to my knowledge, anyway. And there you go. And the tubers, on the other hand, are interesting to eat during the winter. Don't eat them all. I will use the tubers to propagate the plant. Behind is another familiar one, horseradish. This plant has a common use, we all know, but many don't realize it comes from this plant. For those who like to eat out that green paste that's a bit spicy, in Japanese restaurants they put it here with sushi and all that, this one. Wasabi in France. Wasabi is made from horseradish roots in Japan or in Asian countries. In Japan they grow real wasabi, but in France it's made from horseradish. You can grate it, cut it up, or dip it in vinegar or oil. You can make sauces with it, use it in many dishes, and it'll be extremely spicy. Personally, I love it. Another plant whose rhizomes you can eat is canna, not cannabis, canna, the flower. Not long ago I made a post asking if anyone had canna plants to trade with me. Share. And someone offered me cannabis seeds. So, no, we're not confusing things, it's not the same, we're really talking about canna. I'll put a picture here so you can see what we're talking about. So there you go, canna rhizomes are edible. Canna is a type of lily very rich in starch. You can make very nutritious foods with it. It's ornamental, decorative, grows well, and you can eat the roots. Before moving on to fruit-bearing plants, let's mention edible tiger nut. So here we're talking more about an aquatic plant that looks like papyrus and underground produces tiny tubers about the size of a large peanut. And it's really tasty. It has a nutty flavor. It's very good to eat if it doesn't get too cold where you live, because in terms of hardiness it's still a bit delicate. Below freezing you need to be careful. So there you go. If you have the right climate and some wet areas, it's very easy to grow. Plus it produces little nuts that are really tasty to eat, so it's very interesting. And now we're going to talk about fruits. So we have quite a few things coming up. Tobacco isn't a vegetable from the Madeira vine, as we've established. There's a physalis behind me. So among the fruits that grow, I don't know if we put this in the perennial vegetables, but in any case it's a perennial fruit that can be grown as an annual, because generally it doesn't tolerate the cold. For me, physalis, when I say physalis, I'm talking about the ground cherry, the caged ones. I'm not talking about the Chinese lantern, which is also edible, but less interesting in terms of fruit. If kept for over a year, it grows into big bushes, which is interesting. What else did I have here? So, here we have one that we call the melon pear, but this one is dead. So there you go. When we say that this isn't hardy, yes, the melon pear, or pepino as we also call it, isn't necessarily very hardy. I'll see if it grows back from the base. I've had it for 2 or 3 years, but no, this year it didn't survive. So it's a plant that I won't necessarily keep. The chayote is also highly productive and yields well if suited to your climate. As it's in the climbing gourd family, proper support is needed. But if you have that, grow it. It can produce hundreds, sometimes even kilos of fruit. Chayote, also known as Christophine or chouchous, has edible shoots. In Réunion they're called chouchou shoots, referring to the plant whose shoots are eaten. What more can I say? At my place here it doesn't grow, so there's not much more to say about that. Alright, and we'll finish here with a few herbs that could also be considered perennial vegetables. We discussed it briefly at the start and we'll follow up later. All the wild ones growing naturally around us are to me perennial vegetables. So really take into consideration in terms of herbs, wild garlic. If you're more in a mountainous area covered with beaches, and it often happens near wet areas, you can find huge carpets of wild garlic. You can eat it as a vegetable and it's often cooked as pesto. There are several ways to use it, but it's so strong in taste that I wouldn't use it. In the vegetable category you can enhance We saw vegetables with wild garlic and also agastache, which is edible. Mint and lemon balm are among the plants that in spring, when the young shoots come out, you can add to salads. Really, mint and lemon balm. Just add that, then you can put a good dressing and garnish with a few other vegetables. But try this, you'll see it's very, very interesting. Now let's move on to wild plants, which we'll consider as vegetables. They're all around me here. My favorite, well, I don't like to say I have a favorite, but if I had to choose, maybe this one or mint. No, I don't have a favorite, but nettle is amazing. You can consume it in so many different ways, sweet or savory. You can turn it into powder and put it on any dish. Nettles can be used in soup, pie, omelette, bread, and even sorbet. Nettle soup is a classic. It's packed with nutrients and could be considered a medicinal plant. Many fascinating things for garden biodiversity. We could make a huge video about it. We could make a movie about nettles. I think that's already been done, actually. So that's nettles. What else is just starting to grow right now? And yes, I have ground ivy growing now. It's aromatic and could be considered an herb, but it's the same. You can put it in salads, you can make pestos, you can add it to different things, soups, omelets. Once again, you can do a lot of things with it. Among the classics, dandelion. We don't eat enough dandelion, yet it's excellent in spring salads. Here, the young leaves. So it might be a bit bitter for people who aren't used to eating this kind of plant. Yeah, it can come across as a bit bitter. Once you're used to eating wild and strongly flavored plants, you get accustomed to them. A good sauce with some croutons, and for those who aren't vegetarians, a bit of bacon as well. It's excellent. What is chicory? It's very similar. Like dandelion, you can eat the root or make coffee substitutes from it. But the leaves and flowers can also be eaten in salads. In the same family, there's plantain as well. You can add that to salads. The leaves are edible. Or, as I said, not just in salads, but also cooked in soup, in omelets, soup omelette. That's the thing I often mention. It's when you don't know what to do, you crack a few eggs, pick some plantain, pimpernel, and a bit of... Mix chicory into your eggs. That's it. And then you have a dish that's quick to make, that costs nothing, that grows all around us on its own. So there you go, very simple to make. So there you go. I just mentioned pimpernel, what do I have right now? Primrose too, which is starting to come out. So the flower, added to salads, it adds color, but the leaf as well. It's very interesting to eat with wild asparagus, not just cultivated ones. For those who live in regions where hops grow, the young hop shoots are very, very good to eat. Where we live, we call black bryony respontrus. There are different dialects, but that's the name we use. It's great to eat in spring, but with black bryony and respontrus, be careful and don't overeat. For people who have kidney problems, it can cause a few little issues, but otherwise, there you go. It's one of life's little pleasures. On top of having this in the spring, it's great and it's really delicious. Alright, and I'm going to stop here because there could be so many more. This is going to be a much longer video than I imagined. There could be many among both the wild and cultivated ones. As I said at the start of the video, if you want information about how to cultivate, I hope you enjoyed this and got some ideas. If you have questions or stories about other perennial vegetables, let me know. And if you want me to make a video where I talk a bit more about certain perennial vegetables, just let me know in the comments. And then we'll see soon if I do something about it. As always, if you enjoyed the video, please subscribe, share and comment to boost visibility. And if you want to support my work and allow me to keep taking the time to do all this, you can support me financially, either through Tipeee or by joining the YouTube channel. And as usual, a very big, immense, gigantic thank you to all those who are loyal and have been supporting me for quite some time, without whom I wouldn't be able to take the time to do all this. Alright, I'll see you all very soon for more videos. Well, yeah, I didn't talk about you either. I didn't talk about you. I didn't talk about ill. There are many edible things around us.